Okay, let's do it.
Here's the one thing about podcasting I'm not tired of. No, that's not how I'm going to open this. Don't start there. Don't start the recording right there.
It started like 10 minutes ago.
No, I mean,
I'm going to be using some of this.
Oh, beans. Beavis and Butthead.
One big trick. You should point that so it's like not between you and the camera. So like try to turn it.
Can I turn it?
Here, look like right here, Michael.
I'm a professional.
Nope.
I'm a professional.
You see right here on the shock mount?
Oh, on these little squeezy boys?
You squeeze that and then you need to move the whole guy.
Guys.
So you squeeze this and then you move this.
And what are you saying?
You squeeze
the whole
this.
thing? I was turning this just fine without squeezing.
Yeah, because you don't want to move the pop filter. You want to move the microphone. Look over here, Michael. You see how it says back?
Yeah.
That's because that's the back of the microphone. So what you want to do is have that the opposite direction of where you are.
What if you're wrong? I'm squeezing it, Marshall, and it's not... Oh, it turned a little bit. Sick. All I needed was a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of your microphone.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to Tales from the Long Box, the show where the big two talk about comics from the big two and other stuff as well. Doesn't have to be Marvel or DC, but it will be Michael and Marshall, the real big two. High five.
Every time. That's us. That was
pretty good.
Golly Moses.
Pretty
what did you do to me?
good. Contact was bad.
Contact was bad.
Sound was okay.
Wasn't quite the pop that I wanted. It was more of a smack.
I felt good about the sound.
Yeah, most of that contact came from you, champ.
I'm a contactor.
You're really walloped.
I'm a walloping contactor.
A walloping shot collar.
I'll contact your walloper.
Oh,
and
heavens.
I won't stop.
Whoa. Shout out to all of our listeners that had to hear that, especially Dr. Doom himself.
Dude, Dr. Doom. Let me...
I want to look presentable for
I gotta square up.
The God Emperor himself.
The God Emperor. We are in esteemed company.
The presence of greatness. I really hope he's listening.
The King of Latveria, the God Emperor himself, Dr. Victor Von Doom.
Yep.
Praise be, has subscribed to our YouTube channel.
Which is insane to me.
And it's the real one.
He's got to be the real guy.
It is the real one.
You can't just say your name is something on YouTube.
No, well, the picture was him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
It was him.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is that there's this guy, maybe the same guy, on Twitter who has the name Dr. Doom on Twitter and everything. And anytime anything having to do with the Fantastic Four movie or Fantastic Four comics or Reed Richards comes up, he just starts hating 100%. And it's so good.
Oh,
if this is you somehow, I'm so excited that you're here.
Yeah.
I'm excited that all of you are here. There's been not a massive influx, but for a show with 3 episodes and basically nothing else on the YouTube channel, a surprising amount of people hopping in and checking out the show. Like 70 views on the first one, 41 on the second one.
Oh, my gosh, I love that.
Yeah. So I'm excited that you guys are here. If you're here from TikTok, then cool. If you're here from YouTube Shorts, then whatever, cool. Shorts have a lot of views, man. Shorts are good. I like them.
I'm glad
wearing shorts now.
And nothing else.
That's true.
This
is my skin.
I'm glad that we're not the only ones that love comic books.
Yeah.
That's what I like
Did
about
you think that was
you
the
guys.
Case?
I thought maybe, but now there's at least 70 some people.
Yeah, 26 of them are subscribed.
Love all of those people.
Those people are. I appreciate them extra. Make sure to hit that bell notification.
Oh boy. I dread the day when we have to actually
unironically
do that.
We don't ever have to, and I don't really plan to in any real way.
Yeah.
I just feel fortunate that anybody's deciding to spend any of their precious time wasting it with us, but I appreciate that you appreciate us and that you're interested in what we have to say, or you just want to hate listen.
Yes.
And that's also fine.
Yeah.
I'll take your hate. It's good for engagement.
Dude, give us hate watches on TikTok too, on M Perry Shart. That's MPARI Shart.
Is there not an underscore on it? On
Is there? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think there is.
It's fine, guys. Thank you for being here. I would like to try out a new segment that I have just come up with.
Give me it.
It's called My box is huge.
Oh, amazing.
Should we talk about my box is huge today?
I want to talk about your huge box.
This is the oh boy. Here's the thing. I went to Colombia for how long, Michael?
Like, dude, forever. Year and a half?
No,
like
9 months.
9 months.
About
Yeah.
almost 9 months. Not even quite 9 months.
Yeah.
You're very wrong, and I'm hurt by your miscalculation. But
It
it's
just
fine.
felt like you were gone for forever because I'm like, who do I hang out with at work? Austin?
Oof, definitely not.
Shout out to Austin. I hope he's listening.
I say, get out of here, Pool.
Oh.
No, I was in Colombia. At no point did I cancel my subscription box at the comic book store.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, this is what happened. I don't think that I had anything in my box at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had gone digital for a while. The iPad is really convenient for reading comic books because it's like the exact size of a comic magazine. Over the course of time, though, Amazon arbitrarily decided to kill Comixology, the app, and then the experience for buying comics, discovering new comics and everything on the iPad became just like hellish and terrible because it was just the Kindle app now, which everyone has always hated.
Yeah.
It's always been a bad app. It's still a bad app. So now my comic books are in the middle of a bunch of novels and stuff, which I like reading books too, but I like reading physical books or listening to them. I would never, there's something about reading an actual book on a flat screen, even like a Kindle or something, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I can't comprehend it. There's something about the physical achievement of going through a novel and seeing my progress that is not the same as reading a floppy comic book.
And seeing both sides of the comic book is weirdly important too, isn't it? When you have it sitting open. Yeah.
That's a different thing, but yes. So here's what I did, Michael, is I was cutting down on my budget and I thought, this is how I do math.
Yeah.
I thought if I cancel my subscriptions to the books that I'm reading on Amazon and then tell the local comic shop, shout out Rainbow Comics, Cards and Collectibles.
And shout out that I forget the person's name that you know there
Taylor?
that gives you a hard time. Shout out Taylor
for
all
giving
of them
you
give me a hard time. Yeah.
And I'm about
100%.
to explain why.
Yeah, please do.
Because what I did is I canceled all of my digital subscriptions on the Amazon and then renewed all of those things with a physical pull box at Rainbow.
Yeah.
I was, of course, in Colombia. So what I thought is, here's the genius thing. I'm accruing all of these books and I'm not paying for them yet. so it's basically free.
Oh,
and then
boy,
what's happened now is I went today because there was a new Amazing Spider-Man started at a new #1 new creative team. Check it out.
Beauty.
Pretty
Look
cool.
at that.
I haven't finished reading it. It's pretty good so far.
He looks great.
You like it? Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I like it so far. The art is really good. The
read
Amazing
that real
book has
bad.
been junk for a while, but I think it's good so far. Back to the point. I went in to get that specifically, and they said, "Hey, do you want to see your box?" And I said, "Sure." So they handed it to me, one stack at a time, and I divided it all out and I counted it, and it comes out to I think a very reasonable number. A very understandable, achievable number.
Can I guess it?
Yeah, actually, yes. Let's do that. I'm going to give you 3 guesses, and I'll say higher or lower. And if you go, how do we want to do this? What's the most interesting way to do this?
Do that, and let me get like within 5. See if I can get within 5.
Okay. How much money do I owe in comic
These
books?
are all floppies.
These are all floppy comic books. Most of them just regular issues. A few of them are like the final issue of an ongoing, so it's like a higher price or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to guess number of issues.
I don't know how many there are.
Oh, but you know the price
specifically.
tag. Okay.
Yes. I was counting
That's
them by
tougher for sure.
series.
Yeah. Let's go 495 buckaroos.
Lower.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yes.
How do you feel about 440 buckaroos?
Lower.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
See, this is the problem. You've got one guess left, and now you feel like you have to go much lower.
Yeah, and I
And
do.
you're
yeah.
going to undershoot it.
But do I have to go much lower, or did you just say it like that to make me think I did, Marshall?
I don't know.
225 bones.
You fool. You idiot.
I go way too low.
You complete imbecile. $303.
Shoot. That's still a lot of money for comic books.
I owe Rainbow
dude.
Comics. Show the picture I took of me holding my books up to my head. They're as big as my head. That's how much comics it is.
No.
I would show you, but it's on my phone, which we're going to use for something later. Vine Boom. Boom. It's a lot of comic books. It's $303 of comic books. That's Superman. That's Action Comics. That's Star Wars. That's Darth Vader. That's Department of Truth. That's World's Finest. And that's Captain America.
And let's be clear too. You've been back in the States for almost a year.
Yes. Have
and
I bought
you just left
any
it
of
going.
those
You just
since
left
then?
it. You just let it keep accruing, and
Yeah.
I think that is
Yeah.
hilarious that you did that.
But I mean, at no point have I had money to put towards that. What's great is that sometimes people will go to the comic book store because they know that I have this problem,
Yeah.
and they'll buy some books for me as like a Christmas present. My parents bought like 7 issues for my Christmas present out of my box.
Oh,
Pretty
my
great.
goodness.
Free Comic Book Day is coming up soon, and they usually do 50% off issues.
Oh,
So
good. Yeah.
at that point, I will only owe them 303.
You can do this. I believe in you.
100 and 101 150.
What?
$101.50.
No. $151.
$151.52. $150.03.
Math bad, as you always say.
Number bad.
Number bad.
Number bad,
Sorry,
number
you do this.
bad.
Yeah.
Picture good.
Yep.
Spider-Man better.
Always. Look for that T-shirt whenever we get our merch shop up.
That's actually a great one.
Number
for that.
bad, picture good. Spider-Man
Number bad,
better.
number bad.
Oh, you
It's
have
two
to
number
say it
bads.
twice.
It's
Okay.
number bad, picture good, Spider-Man better.
I can't wait to make that T-shirt. That's gonna be amazing.
It's important. Michael, that's my thing about how my box is huge.
I'm glad that you delivered that to me.
I just wanted to share about my box. I also did get this issue of Spider-Man. Do we want to talk about this now or at the end?
Maybe
at the end?
now. You got it out.
Fine. This is Spider-Man. The Spider-Man creative run has been bad. People have been really upset. Nobody likes Paul. All my homies hate Paul. You know
Which
about Paul?
Paul, what's his last name?
Something happened. I don't even know exactly what it is because I haven't been reading Amazing for a long time. Something happened. And for some reason, right when Peter and MJ were about to actually get back together again, seemingly, there was some kind of like time jump, or Peter was in a different dimension and he came back, and Mary Jane is now married to a man named Paul, and they have a child.
Don't love that.
No, nobody wants that. Nobody loves that. Famously, everybody hates One More Day that broke them up in the first place.
Yeah.
Nobody wants this. Everybody wants them to get back together. The run drawn by Ryan Otley and written by can't remember, but that one seemed Nick Spencer. That seemed like he was going back that direction.
Yeah.
And then it didn't. And Zeb Wells has been largely to blame, but also the editorial of the book has been like weirdly adversarial towards fans. And like, it's a very strange dynamic.
Yeah.
This is a new team. Joe Kelly is the writer. Pepe Larraz, I think, is the name of the artist.
There is no Pepe Sylvia.
There is no, I think it's Pepe Larraz.
Oh, good. Okay. That's
So that's the good news.
Yeah. What is
It's kind of annoying.
You said Joe Kelly. What else has he written?
Joe Kelly, I don't really know what else Joe Kelly's done. I looked it up, and he's done some other, a couple Spider-Man things, a few other random everything. He's not a unknown writer. So I like this book so far. I haven't finished reading it. The art's really good. The writing is pretty good so far.
Yeah.
But it's just a weird status quo that Peter is like going out on dates, and Mary Jane is married to another man and has a child, and also is the new Venom.
Mary Jane is the new Venom?
Yep.
Strange.
The Spider-Man books are having trouble right now.
Let me run into Paul in these streets.
Dude,
He can get it.
if I catch Paul in these streets,
Smoke on site.
smoking Paul. I'm going to smoke. I'm going to roll Paul up. I'm going to smoke him.
No, Marshall doesn't get the slang.
Yep. I'm picking up what you're rolling down.
I'm smoking what you're selling.
Roll him up and smoke him when I die. That's not the song.
Man.
So I think that Spider-Man is cool. I really want the book to be good. I don't know if it's going to be. I'll keep you updated, everybody.
Please do.
You're over there. Michael, should we talk about Star Wars?
You want to talk about a Star War?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to tell me?
I could be into talking about these Star Wars by Jason Aaron of Thor, Thor God of Thunder, Thor the God Butcher, or Gore the God Butcher. That's a different
Jane Thor,
different guy. Jane Thor,
Mighty Thor, as she's called in the book.
I think he did some Ghost Rider at one point. I'm pretty sure Jason Aaron did. I don't know. Fact check me, but good author.
I like Jason Aaron a lot. I feel like we are here, by the way, to talk about Star Wars comics. If you saw it in the heading, we're here to talk about that, or the title.
These bad boys, right?
So
here.
we've got the first 2 volumes here of Star Wars. I bought these when they were coming out. I had a lot of the original issues, the actual issues, and then I think I must have sold them at some point because I couldn't find them anywhere.
Yeah.
And I didn't make any good money off of them because it wasn't that long. I just clearing space out. But we have the first 2 trades here of the first Star Wars series when Star Wars came back to Marvel, and it is pretty dang good.
Dude,
I like it a lot.
The extent to which the Star Wars IP can go when it isn't beholden to the film canon.
Yep.
It's stellar, dude. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, also when it's not beholden to the previous canon from Legends.
Right. Yeah.
That is its own thing entirely, that controversially,
yeah.
when they started this stuff, they said we're wiping all of that away.
Yeah.
Well, that was when they did The Force Awakens, not just this. When they did The Force Awakens, just all the new content with the Disney merger or purchase, they said all of the Legends stuff doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
If we want to, we might take stuff from that, but for all intents and purposes, none of that exists. Since then, things have come back, like Thrawn. Some stuff that they've done in like the Ahsoka series seems to be leaning towards some Legends things. Maybe some of the Obi-Wan stuff has been taken from the Obi-Wan novels and things like that. But that freed up the comic books to tell a lot of really cool stories.
Yeah.
And I like it a lot.
No, truly. I don't think it's too much for people to understand that what you're seeing here is not necessarily what the films are relying on the story to be or to include. They're just allowed to have fun. They're allowed to do weird stuff where it's oh, Luke has 12 different encounters with Vader or whatever. That's hyperbole, but between meeting him on the Death Star, and meeting him on the second Death Star, I guess. I don't know. What does he meet him in the movies?
In Empire.
In Empire,
when he cuts off his hand and tells him he's his father.
In Cloud City. That's what I meant. Sorry. That's me being a bad Star Wars fan.
I think what's interesting that these comics do really well, one of the things I wrote here is that it gives a lot of context to the films that weren't there otherwise.
Yeah.
That they didn't need, certainly, but it adds a lot of interesting background to the things that are happening in the movies. So these ones specifically, for the listeners and the viewers, Skywalker Strikes and Showdown on the Smuggler's Moon, these 2 first volumes, these take place pretty much immediately after A New Hope. And this series spans from the end of A New Hope to the beginning of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And then the series relaunched from Empire until Return of the Jedi. That finished up fairly recently, and now they're doing stuff from post-Jedi, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because we've not really gotten much of that up to this point, for these characters especially.
Yeah.
And getting to see what was happening in the time between A New Hope and Empire especially, or not even that, I don't know, just either of these is really interesting to see what's the journey these characters have been going on of Han came in and did this heroic thing at the end of A New Hope, but does that mean that he's all in?
Right.
Or is he still just going to hop out, but his conscience got the better of him, so he went and saved his friend, but he got his medal and his accolades, and now he's going to go.
Yeah.
Is that what's going to happen? We don't know.
Right.
You watch Empire, and he's General Solo now. He's maybe going to hop out again at that point. He's still wishy-washy, but you know what's going on. The same thing with Luke has started to get some training, it seems like, in Empire. He kind of knows what he's doing, but still not very much. And what happened in between there?
Yeah.
What was Darth Vader up to is, again, something I was never thinking about ever. Yeah. But the Darth Vader stuff in these is the most interesting stuff by far to me.
So much of this, I think, is more interesting than a lot of what you see on screen in the movies. I just think I don't know how people, I don't know how they come up with the ideas that they come up with for the characters. But yeah, it's like I don't need to know any of those details. Like you can watch the original trilogy and have a fine view of, and have a complete comprehensive view of these characters and the narrative. But these just make it so much more fun when they extrapolate on these things. Yeah.
Well, I think that what they do really well is that Jason Aaron and John Cassaday, and as well, they worked hand in hand with the Lucas Film Story Group the whole time.
Yeah.
What they did really, really well throughout all of these books is just deciding, like, well, what would they do next? Like, they just blew up the Death Star. What is the next step for Han Solo, for Leia Organa, for Luke Skywalker? What for Darth Vader, even having just suffered this great defeat? What is this? What are the repercussions on him from his boss, the Emperor?
Yeah.
Which they do get into more in the Solo Darth Vader book that I was trying to read a little bit of as well.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because where this does start out is we're basically just doing another, terrorist hit. They're taking out a weapons factory, the Empire's biggest weapons factory, and they're all sneaking in to do their thing. They've got Han in there helping out. He hasn't jumped out yet. Leia's just like, we hit them hard. We got to keep going and go intense at them, which is exactly what Leia would do. Luke is joining in and helping because he doesn't know where else he's going to go. He just found a family, I guess, so he's going to do that. But he's got this lightsaber and he's got his mentor is dead and he's saying, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
I need to find out more about the Jedi. And that's exactly what they do in that book. And it feels very natural. It feels like an extremely natural extension directly out of the movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the writing in that first issue, the first few issues, can feel very kind of cliche Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a good way to start it out, of just like, there's a lot of things in there that are very like, here's our plan, everything's this way, and then C-3PO's like, I've got a good feeling about this.
Yeah.
It's like, that's funny.
It's so
Like,
cute.
it's very self-aware.
Yeah.
And it feels a little too specifically Star Wars in a way, but in a way that I feel like makes sense for launching this thing.
Yeah.
And then when you get to Showdown on the Smuggler's Moon, you get to something that feels much more new and much more different.
Yeah, big time. And I mean, you mentioned the writing and a lot of those like kind of meta things. I think one thing that this whole creative team that put these together did so well is they pace it. I think a lesser team would have taken the assault on that weapons factory and they make that one issue to start things off, and then they and they move on to something
Jump straight
else.
into another thing.
Yeah, like new adventures. But these guys, they allow themselves to take their time.
It's a whole story arc.
It is. It's so much fun. Like you don't often see like single missions like that protracted into what's in here, like 7 issues, maybe something like that.
Usually 4 to 6. I mean, it probably says on the back
6 or 7, something. I would love to. Can I read the summary?
Read the summary, and I'm gonna
grab
my iPad.
Okay, sounds good. So, summary of this first volume says, Luke Skywalker and the ragtag rebels opposing the Galactic Empire are fresh off their biggest victory so far, the destruction of the massive Death Star. But the Empire is not toppled yet. Join Luke, Princess Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca, C-3PO, R2-D2, and the rest of the Rebel Alliance as they fight for freedom against Darth Vader and his evil master, the Emperor. When a Rebel assault goes wrong, Han and Leia must think fast to make their escape when Luke comes face to face with Darth Vader. In the explosive aftermath, a humbled Luke returns to Tatooine to learn more about his mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Meanwhile, Leia and Han undertake a vital and dangerous secret mission. But can they succeed without Luke? Plus, the menace of Boba Fett. I love
The menace of Boba Fett.
That's the most like old-timey Marvel thing
Yeah.
yeah.
Also in this issue,
Yeah, true.
the
Yeah.
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, honestly, you can see that just in the front of on the front of a floppy issue. So much fun. Did any moments from that first volumes like stand out to you?
Let me open up my screenshots here.
Yeah, please do.
I'm
I'm gonna hang out with Spider-Man.
check out Spider-Man for a minute. 18% power. That's great. Who needs power?
Love
You have
that.
Sadness. What? Okay. Jason Aaron. We talked a lot about Jason Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
What we haven't talked about is the incredible John Cassaday.
It's ridiculous.
John Cassaday
he's so good.
He passed away fairly recently.
Did he really?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think what happened. Let's look it up real quick. John Cassaday. He was fairly young. He was 52.
Man.
John Cassaday death. Can I see a reason? Yeah, cardiac arrest. He had a heart attack. But he is, we've talked about him on the show before, I think.
Yeah.
He is, is one of the all-time greats in modern comics.
Yeah.
He is fantastic. He's the father of what was often called widescreen comics, which you see a lot in this. It's a very cinematic feeling look that uses a lot of full-length wide panels, like page-length panels.
Yeah.
That feels very filmic because it's like a movie frame. And the way that he frames his action is very cinematic. The way that he frames up his shots is very cinematic. There's that great one that I always talk about that he did on Astonishing X-Men, where what's his name is back alive and all the different stuff. That's put it there. Boom, there it is. Vine boom. He's great. And I just love it. Like, you get Han coming in here. It just feels very quickly very Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, we've got this thing happening. I hope everything's going to be fine. This is just so annoying that we have to have this procedure, says this guy. And then here I am. Hey, I'm Han Solo.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
Like, from this moment, I remember reading this when it first came out and being like, okay.
You have to smile when you see it, too.
It's good.
It's really, really gratifying. Yeah.
And John Cassaday does a pretty good job with the likenesses. They're not perfect because his style is a bit more realistic. It's harder to get a likeness when you have a more realistic style. I think Stuart Immonen in the second volume does a better job, but it's also easier for him because his style is a bit more stylized.
Yeah.
It's not quite as realistic.
Yeah, but it's never distracting, even when it's like there's never any like weird uncanny valley thing.
Not at all. Oh,
or
let me write
I,
down something important to talk about.
Yeah.
Darth Vader, Salvador LaRocca.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
I'm
I've got
excited
opinions.
for this.
Yeah, and then straight into all this stuff. I love, this is a very Star Wars moment when he's like, you rebels, you're doomed. You're going to, the moment this thing happens, everything's going to be ruined and whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, well, we're going to like torture you with our droid basically. And he's like, okay, it's over there.
Yep, exactly. It's very Star Wars.
All of this is so Star Wars. Like everyone's so in character. Han threatening people, Leia just punching people for no reason.
Yep. She's very aggressive in this.
I love that they really maintain that Luke is a softie.
Yes. Yeah.
Luke is really emotionally led.
He has to be heroic. He has to like go off mission to save people. Yeah.
He tries to save these people. It's very good.
Yeah.
I saw an interesting thing that John Cassaday was talking about when he was drawing aliens. He was very much trying to draw them like they were wearing masks.
Yeah.
Like it was puppets, like it was people in costumes, and not like they were actual aliens in the scene.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because I'm sure you could just draw them as aliens, and I've read plenty of Star Wars books where they do, but I think there is something to be said for the way that this looks so authentically Star Wars.
Yes.
And maybe that kind of weird approach in his head is doing that. I don't know.
Okay, so I want to ask you this. We've talked, so even thus far, we've talked a lot about like what feels like the films and what feels familiar as people who've engaged with like all sides of the IP.
People who are engaged.
People who are engaged. Congratulations. Looking forward to the big day.
Yep.
Do you think that somebody who had never seen Star Wars, which there's a dying breed of that, of that demographic, but somebody that's never seen Star Wars picks this up, do you think it is still, meaningful, like to them, like
interesting?
What do they respond to it the same way that we do with these emotional moments, with the kind of big wow panels and stuff like that?
I don't know. I think that it would still be an interesting read.
Yeah. But
the problem is that, like, it's what I was saying earlier. This really is like an immediate follow-up. It's like the next episode, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, we're not doing episodes 4, 5, and 6 anymore. This is episode 5.
Yeah.
After episode 4.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen A New Hope, you're going to come into this confused.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Darth Vader is or anything like that, this moment, which is great, at the end of the first issue, when they're like, things are starting to go wrong, and then Luke is like adding a problem by saying, look, I got all these people.
Yeah.
It's like, crap, okay, I guess we'll figure it out. Wait, the negotiator is arriving. He's arriving. Yeah. That's happening too soon. And then it's Darth Vader. Great ending to the, I mean, it's not even the very end, but it's like, such a great moment of like, now everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
If you don't know who that is, then it's like, I guess we don't exactly understand why they're panicking in the next page.
I guess he's spooky looking enough.
And you get the idea, obviously, from their reactions that this is someone that we should be concerned about. But I think you really do need to have seen A New Hope to really get the full impact of this. And I can't imagine, I mean, unless you didn't know what Star Wars was at all, I don't think you're picking this book up if you haven't seen the movie.
Totally. Yeah.
Because if you are thinking, oh, I haven't seen Star Wars, I should probably watch the movie first.
Yeah. No, for sure.
That's what you would think. Unless you didn't know that Star Wars existed, in which case you're thinking, that looks cool. I don't know what the heck that is.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Totally. Yeah. No, and that's why it's kind of, that's why I pose it as a hypothetical thing, because I'm sure that nobody who is clueless about Star Wars has picked up these books.
Sure.
But I'm more thinking through, what's the difference between something that's like a satisfying expansion on the existing material and something that is derivative and just standing on the existing material without really contributing to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think it would be, if this entire series was just this first volume, basically just doing that same thing over and over again, then it would be frustrating and pointless.
Yep.
Or it would feel pointless because, like what I've been saying and what we've both been saying, like it has a lot of moments in this first volume that are very quintessential Star Wars, that feel a little stereotypically Star Wars.
Yeah.
I read some interviews with Jason Aaron and John Cassaday, and even actually there was a special edition of the first issue that I was able to find online that had the script for the first issue in it. And I was able to see the notes that Jason Aaron wrote for John Cassaday. And he wrote in there, like, we're stealing some moments more or less directly out of the movies and stuff like that. And they do. So if that was all this was, then it would start to immediately feel really derivative.
Yeah.
But it evolves past that very quickly.
Yeah.
Like, this works as a really good opening. And then you get to Showdown on the Smuggler's Moon. Long title.
Yeah. But a good one, though.
Yeah. And it does start to do different things because now you're dipping into things that are from Legends. Like, I think that was the first time Nar Shaddaa showed up after everything got wiped away.
Yeah.
Which is fun. That was the first time that they had taken something out of the old stuff and been like, okay, now it's here.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to use it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Does that answer your question, Michael?
I think it answered my question. I completely agree, too. There's a heart behind it that is just enough connected to what we've already seen to be something we want to see more of. Without just making it kind of bland and soulless. And I think, like, a lot of the narrative moments are what create that. You talked about these are characters we know, and they're expressing the values and the behaviors of the characters.
They don't feel like they're acting out of character.
Right, exactly.
Which is something that's hard to do in comics, especially when you've got a new writer and a new artist coming in every like 40, 50 issues.
Yeah.
It's like that writer is going to put their own spin on this, it says Spider-Man #1, right? Yeah. But if you look closer, it has the legacy numbering. This is actually Spider-Man number 965. We're almost to Amazing Spider-Man number 1000.
That's crazy to think about.
It's a few years away at this point still.
Yeah, still.
But
yeah,
I remember when Spider-Man 800 came out. It was a big deal. And it's hard sometimes for a writer to come in and really want to put their stamp on a thing, especially when they're new, and say like, this is my Spider-Man, this is my version of Spider-Man, but it has to be Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Like, this is a character that we've been familiar with for 964 issues before this issue came out.
Yeah.
And if he's acting out of character, it's very noticeable. And it's
you
very
feel it.
obvious.
Yeah.
And that's for a guy who lives in the comic books. For a character that has lived in the hearts and the minds of the entire general public, like all of these people have, it's like infinitely more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in a way, even though there's less content of these guys comparatively to Spider-Man, this is so much more burned into our brains.
Yeah.
Because no one's read. No, I mean, not a lot of people have read all 965 issues of Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
To be able to really be like, yeah, I know, that's not how Peter Parker would act, or that's not what he would do, or anything like that.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. And there's a swing on the other side too, where it's no longer acting out of character. Sometimes they don't even include character, whether that's, I think there's a lot of reasons people do that, but I think like fear of the fan base retaliation is a lot of like let's just be safe and slap Luke Skywalker's face on this, but just put some kind of generic dialogue in, like just make it kind of it ends up with just a bland product. Sometimes these don't, but lesser writers and artists do that.
Yeah, a good writer doesn't sound like himself.
Yes, exactly.
Shouldn't.
Exactly.
It should sound like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
It should sound like Leia. It should sound like Han Solo.
Yeah.
It should sound like C-3PO.
Yeah.
Jason Aaron said in an interview that 3PO was the most difficult to write because most of the time he's just getting annoyed by people. In the original trilogy, he became like a comedic character in the Rise of Skywalker, more specifically.
Yeah.
But there's not much character to him necessarily, so trying to figure out like, what do you do with him, what kind of story beats can you do with him, and they do use him really well.
Yeah.
Especially even just in these first two volumes. Like, he has a little funny thing that he's supposed to defend the Falcon and stuff like that in the first volume. In the second one, Chewie takes him down to the Smuggler's Moon to go and save Luke, and they kind of work as like a very interesting duo that you would not have really expected otherwise.
Yeah.
But it works really well.
If they try to do that on screen, like when it's just droids on screen with no human characters for me to connect to, I disconnect a little bit.
Like George Lucas's favorite episode of the Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Oh, is that right?
The one where there are just droids in the desert.
I forgot about this one. I don't think I know.
Vine Boom, right here. There it is.
Let's see it. But in this, they somehow, even make them interesting. And then there's these cool, like, unexpected moments too. Like, I remember in Shadow on the Smuggler's Moon.
Nope.
Showdown on the Smuggler's Moon.
There you go.
I'm blaming my...
It's a super easy title, Michael.
Thanks. I took my glasses off. I'm blaming that. There's this killer panel where it's, Luke is in this, like, gladiatorial arena.
Yeah. I might have what you're talking about here, but let's find out. You keep talking.
You do. Yeah.
I hope you do.
I hope you do.
Welcome to the Long Box.
But the like game master or whatever says something to Luke about I'm backing up.
Yeah.
Luke spends this whole volume talking about how he's not a Jedi. People keep calling him a Jedi or the Jedi. And he keeps insisting that he's not, and he's really down on himself, and he's having a big boohoo time. And at one point, he's like so annoyed by being made to perform for all these people and being made to like fight in this arena. And one of the game master people says something about, so much anger. No wonder you're not much of a Jedi. Yeah. I'm like, that's so good. And I didn't expect that was going to be, that we were going to get to that point in this like story arc this character arc that he's got going on. So fun that they choose to do that though.
Yeah.
It's like, that's meaningful.
And Jason Aaron said that he wanted to make the book feel substantial and not like it was just a series of side quests that would eventually lead to the next movie.
Yeah.
And like make big things happen that add interesting context to the movies. And I think he does a really good job of that. A good example of that is even just by the end of the first issue, Luke and Darth Vader are facing off against each other already for the first time, really.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
Because Darth Vader doesn't know who he is. He doesn't even know that he's the pilot who blew up the Death Star.
Yeah.
He can sense that, that one is here. I don't know where he is. but they come against each other, and there's this great moment, this like Batman Beyond moment of you killed my father, and I've killed a lot of fathers, you'll have to be more specific, is what he says in Batman Beyond. But,
so good.
that's what he says here too.
Yeah.
And Luke's response to that is just, okay, I'm gonna attack you now. Like, I'm angry.
Yeah. And then he immediately gets his lightsaber just taken away.
Yeah. And then there's this moment where he like momentarily recognizes his lightsaber.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is great. And then boom. Again, this is what we were talking about in the Daredevil thing. Like, you think about the pace of the fight here.
Yeah.
You've got this reverse shot, looking at Luke, back over here, and then just you're right into his response immediately as, I'm angry, I'm going at you. And then this is like, you're cutting straight into that to that.
Yeah.
Like, you can picture that in your mind of him going like this, and right about here, you would cut to this shot and see the two lightsabers go right into each other.
Yeah. The most cinematic.
And then I think there's some stuff between this, but then it comes back to this, and Darth Vader's just knocked him over. And it's a slow paced thing because it's not really a fight.
Yeah.
It's a conversation.
Yeah.
Because Darth Vader's telling him, like, this is most pathetic. You are not worth the seconds it would take to finish you. Who sent you here to die like this?
Like, it's savage.
Pretty good.
Darth Vader is maybe at his, in a more what's the word I'm looking for? Intimidating thing here. I'm trying to think of more any moments that are more intimidating than that. Obviously, Rogue One is like the end of that is the classic example of this. But what else? There's another part in this first issue where he gets his helmet knocked off, and one of the stormtroopers
around.
One of the stormtroopers like sees him and is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't really," and he just snaps his neck just for seeing him.
It's like, ooh.
It's such good character moments again.
Yeah, like they very much intended to just write him like a force of nature.
Yes,
and they were like, Kieran Gillen is going to do the really introspective stuff.
Karen Gillan, Nebula from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly, Michael.
Sorry, Kieran.
She's going to do a really good job.
It's a little too close name-wise. I'm sorry.
Unacceptable. I'm sure he gets that a lot.
I'm sure
Kieran
he does.
Gillen, great writer.
Yes.
Did the Darth Vader book at this time. And Jason Aaron said, okay, he's going to be doing the more introspective stuff. In our book, I want him to just be like a force of nature.
Yeah.
I want him to just be like powerhouse.
Yeah.
So that's what this is. He's just like knocking down walkers with the Force. He's pushing people out of the way, snapping necks, flying around. It's incredible.
Flying around.
Yeah, in a spaceship and stuff like that. You know spaceships? Remember spaceships?
I'm just picturing him doing the Magneto Minecraft character.
They can do big
around.
Jumps. Yeah, so Darth Vader sends Boba Fett after the pilot that destroyed the Death Star. And he doesn't know who he is or anything like that. Boba Fett is written very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little fight they have is really good in Ben's cabin where he blinds him.
Yep.
You don't get the sense that Luke has previously met Boba Fett when you watch Empire Strikes Back. So they very intentionally had him throw this flash grenade.
Oh, so he hasn't seen him yet.
So he won't really know who it was. Like in this moment, he says something about like something weird looking stormtrooper. Because he like punches him and he just feels armor.
Yeah, so he just assumes it's a stormtrooper. Yeah.
But it also ties into like the only training that we've seen Luke do up to this point
is with the
remote.
remote.
The thing with the blast shield.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is him doing his blind can't see anything, use the Force training.
It's so good. It's it makes it a great moment. And they have this great there's a great panel where they like meet it looks like a shot from the floor up looking at Luke and Boba Fett. It's a really cool panel.
Maybe I don't.
I can see if I can find it quickly too.
Hold on.
This one.
Oh yeah, that's very cool.
It's such a good
Show the
look. Camera, have that. Hopefully Marshall's just got it on screen for you too.
Yeah, I guess I'll do that too. You're going to make me go find a new thing.
Yeah, we can.
That's it feels very Dragon Ball to me.
It does feel very Dragon Ball. 100%.
And then that leads into, I think, what is the most interesting thing that these comics ever did.
Huge.
That added such interesting context to all of the movies and everything like that. Is Vader getting news back from Boba Fett. I didn't capture him, but I did get a name. It's Skywalker.
Yeah.
And then this page is very John Cassaday.
Yep.
Where just no reaction. Boba Fett's like, well, I guess I'll go. and then down to the fist, and then it starts to crack.
Yeah.
And then Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he doesn't know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
Does that mean that this is his progeny?
Right.
That is this person his son? He knows that Padme was pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as he knows, he killed her. That's what the Emperor told him.
Yeah.
And maybe the Emperor believed that. I don't know. We don't know that he didn't. Yeah, just this moment here of like his world is like cracked open, blasted open.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting then looking at Empire, and he's known that we do get to the point where he, I think, does figure out like, no, this is my son.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that in Empire, when the Emperor calls him and says the pilot who destroyed the Death Star, he's the son of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
And he's like, how could this be? All this, like, he knew.
Yeah.
He knew that.
Yeah. He's got the
And
act
he
going
didn't
on.
tell the Emperor.
Yeah.
There's a lot in these books that doesn't necessarily like humanize Darth Vader. A little bit it humanizes him, but it also like it shows like he's not working with the Emperor 100% all the time. Like, he's doing a lot of stuff behind the Emperor's back.
Right.
And he's doing a lot of stuff for his own purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't just go and hire these guys. He went to Jabba the Hutt
Yeah.
because the Emperor wanted him to broker a deal of some sort. He went a day early
Mm-hmm.
for personal reasons
Yeah.
to hire Boba to go and get the pilot, and to hire Chrysanthemum Black to do a different thing that I can't remember. Get somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh,
was that pilot girl?
No.
What
oh
happens?
my gosh.
It's been a while since
It's
I read that one.
There's some agent that the Emperor was like hiring to go off and do something, and
Right.
he didn't want to tell
Yeah.
Vader what it was. He was
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I want to know more about that.
That's a really great.
I'm Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I want to know more about that.
Great Vader voice, famously nasally.
Yeah,
Darth
but I
Vader.
love this. Something Smuggler's Moon. How do you feel about Sana?
Very weird. It wasn't my favorite part of this arc. I didn't skip over those panels, but I read them a lot more quickly than the other ones that I was more interested in. I
She's
confess.
pretty one note for
Yeah.
most of that arc.
Yes.
She becomes more interesting at like the very end.
Yeah, you can tell they're setting her up for something.
Yeah.
But I was more like, okay, this is interesting, maybe?
She becomes her own character, and that's fun. I like the
Yeah.
dynamic of her and Leia both just being like, who gives a crap about this guy? Like, yeah, let's get out of here.
Yes,
Like, this
yeah.
dude sucks.
Yeah.
We both hate this guy.
Yeah, truly.
And then Han is just like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, guys.
What else do we get in this? Dude, okay, let's talk about
Gracchus
the Hutt.
Gracchus?
I love how, wow, that's, yep.
Gracchus?
He's
the jackest? Ow!
Wow. Was that Huttese that you were speaking?
Ow! Ow!
He's so huge.
Gracchus is a big
It's
guy.
so fun,
He wears
dude.
lightsabers, and he's got mojo legs.
Yeah. Why is he more fun than Jabba ever was? Like, he's
Because Jabba isn't jacked.
Yep.
Jabba doesn't have robot legs like Mojo from Mojo World.
Mojo
and
Jojo
Jabba,
from Kim Possible.
That's not even from Kim Possible.
From the
You
Powerpuff Girls.
crazy person.
Dude, it's been so long.
This is I am unbelievably disappointed in you.
You
right
heard wrong. I'm gaslighting you. It was Powerpuff Girls. I
now.
said that
Gracchus
all
is
along.
cool.
He's so cool.
I like that he cracks Luke in the head.
It's yeah. I love that he. I love that he cracks Luke in the head.
Gracchus
Our hero.
crackus him right in the nog.
Jackus Gracchus Crackus.
Jack is crackus Lucas head.
That's really good. I just love. Okay,
Star Wars The Collector.
that's very true. What I really love though is a gladiatorial arc.
Yep.
In anything or
Yep.
a tournament arc.
Yep.
Give me all of that. I'll eat it right
Whoa.
up. That's correct. I love it so much. I don't even know why. No, I do know why.
Okay.
Because it gives like a lower stakes, more contained story for the hero to go through
Sure.
without having to do too much like It's soul searching that doesn't involve everything outside of the arena. It's just what's happening for your character in the arena and figuring stuff out about themselves in there. So it's
fighting a big monster,
and showing off all their fun abilities and what they've learned and stuff like that.
Yeah, EMP, so and then cool. Everyone has lightsaber.
Yeah. Give me more.
Pretty cool.
You know?
Pretty cool.
I love it. Yeah.
People online, I looked up I was doing some research and I saw people on Reddit, and of course it's Reddit, but they were like, this book is terrible. I hate Jason Aaron.
Yeah.
I hate what he's done. He needs to get removed from Star Wars immediately. They just give everybody lightsabers. It's like, are we reading the same book?
Yeah.
Like, this is great.
I'm having a grand old time.
This is a good, enjoyable story.
Yeah. These are the people that whoever comments on our TikToks, that's the haters that they're talking about. People who are just hating for hating's sake.
Yeah. It's like, chill out, dude.
Yeah.
You don't even like comic books. You don't even like Star Wars.
Yeah. Shout out to our TikTok commenters. I hope they comment again.
Comment below what your least favorite Michael is.
Yeah, your least favorite thing about Michael and Marshall.
Just Michael. You want to hear about Salvador Larroca?
Yeah, please tell me about Salvador.
Salvador Larroca makes me upset. Salvador Larroca, when I was reading this book for the first time, he drew the pictures in the Darth Vader book.
Okay.
He eventually also worked on the Star Wars book.
Yeah.
Later on. That's when I was first introduced to him, because I read the Darth Vader book later. He is frustrating to me.
Okay.
Ironically, I found people online loving Salvador Larroca.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm the crazy one. He, in the past, I think most notably has done some X-Men stuff, and it looked perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Looks great. Nothing wrong with it. And then his Star Wars stuff, it's like he just was like, I give up on trying to do a likeness.
Mm-hmm.
It's too difficult. What I will do instead is put a panel from the movie.
Oh.
I will put it in the comic book, and I will trace over this panel from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens often is you can look at Salvador Larroca's work on Star Wars, and you can say, I know exactly what part of the movie this is from.
I have seen this 100 times because I've seen the movies 100 times.
Like, look at that.
Yeah.
That's
just the scene.
Ripped out of the scene.
Yeah.
Over here, this one is even worse. Can you tell me what Luke is saying in that scene? Because I know exactly immediately.
Yes, and also, it doesn't really look like Luke that much either.
I mean, I can see it, but it's just the hair doesn't match.
Yeah.
Because that's Luke in Return of the Jedi saying, I'm a Jedi like my father before me. He had a different haircut. He had a different skin tone.
Yeah.
He had a different facial structure by then.
Yeah.
All this different stuff. This one, do you recognize that?
Yeah.
That's Obi-Wan Kenobi being killed and Luke screaming, no!
Outside the Falcon.
And then he starts doing this with his floppy belt. Like, what are we doing?
Can we insert that, please?
It's bad.
Yeah.
He also does this, like, he has problems with proportion.
Yeah.
Like, look at how weirdly short Boba Fett looks.
Yeah.
How weird and tall his helmet looks for no reason. Boba Fett's helmet is not tall. If anything, it's kind of weirdly wide compared to everybody else.
Totally. Yeah. What we were talking about earlier, how these don't have any uncanny valley, that's all this is. Yes. Because you shouldn't just trace. That's just sad.
Work.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't.
Salvador Larroca Star Wars. I bet there's even worse offenders.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
Now here's the thing. I've seen you take pictures of me and our friends and trace over our overall heads just to get proportions correct. But at some point you drop it and you just do your art. You know what I mean? And that's what it should be, what it should look like.
The Darth Vader book is really good, except for he draws it.
Totally. Yeah.
I wish that I didn't feel that way, and I wish that I could be nicer about it, but it's just not good.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about that. What other important notes do I have here? Anything?
I think you should do some drawing.
Right. See, now I feel like, what are we supposed to talk about while I draw things?
That's a great question. What should we talk about while you draw things?
So one of the things that we thought would be interesting is if I drew a character from the thing that we're talking about on the show live while we talk about something. But I feel like we don't have much to talk about right now anymore because we just talked about everything. Michael, what do you think?
One thing would be that we could talk about if you want to is what to read if you like this. And we've made some really good comparisons that we can dig further into. Like, okay, so you mentioned. Well, I mean, we both kind of mentioned like Dragon Ball or anime stuff.
I guess, yeah, for that like one panel. I don't know if I would say sorry, I should talk in the microphone.
Yeah, talk to the microphone.
I don't think I would say if you like this comic book, then you should read Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really compare. I think you should just read these books.
Yeah.
Like,
you should read
or
these
the
books.
other Star Wars books. There's not much that's, if you like Spider-Man, this Spider-Man book, then check out this Spider-Man book. It's my favorite. Like, if you like the Star Wars books, this is where you should start.
Keep reading Star Wars. Keep reading the Darth Vader ones. But there's more at the same time. For example, like I was talking about a gladiator or a tournament arc. Every shonen anime and manga has that to a certain degree. That's kind of a staple that makes it fun,
I know that, Michael.
So you can read that. Hop into.
Am I drawing, Michael, real quick?
Who are you drawing?
Yep. Don't make it too hard.
Can you give us a good Boba Fett?
Oh, easy.
Do you remember when the Book of Boba Fett came out and we would watch it at work and it was always the Book of Boba Fett?
Boba Fett?
Yeah. Boba Fett.
Boba Fett? Where? Yeah, Boba Fett having strangely very bad luck with blinded enemies.
Yeah, why is this so rough for him?
Let's see.
Yeah, he keeps going back to that same trick. Explain that one.
There's no trick. It's just a simple trick.
How difficult is it to draw that scene where he gets his jetpack popped by Han Solo by accident?
Somewhat difficult.
Dang it. All right. Well, don't do that then.
What should we talk about here, Michael? I don't know what to do now.
I don't know. This could be the part where you just switch to that video and have a little time lapse action. You want to do that?
I guess. Back is breaking. So I'm sitting at such a friggin' weird angle.
Yeah. Such good posture.
Nope.
No?
I'm like going like this.
I thought that was great.
You're wrong. Okay, everyone.
Let's see.
I've made Boba Fett.
Let's have it.
See it here first. And
show me Boba Fett, dude.
Nope, close. Boom.
Look at that, man. That's great.
There's Boba Fett. It only took however long it took. Thanks, everyone.
With the time lapse, it was no time at all.
Very quickly. That's what we think about Star Wars. We think Star Wars is cool. We think the comic books are really well done. We think Jason Aaron does a really good job. We think that John Cassaday does a really good job. We think Stuart Immonen does a really good job. We think that Kieran Gillen does a really good job. We think that Salvador LaRocca should go somewhere else. It's really good.
Or just get better.
Or no, he should go. He's just go. He's done. He's done.
Brutal. Salvador, if you watch this, I'm okay with you just improving your craft.
All right, fine.
Marshall says retire.
Not retire.
Oh.
Just go somewhere else.
Oh, dear. Okay. Now I understand.
Not in my mind. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to the show. We don't know what we're going to talk about next week, so you should tell us. Tell us what we should talk about. Is there a comic book that you really love? Is there a character you really love? Is there someone that you really love? Do you love your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, mother, father, legal guardian,
Favorite podcast hosts,
sister,
Marshall and Michael.
But the big two.
They should love us. Love us. We love you.
It's kind of a bad look.
No.
Love us.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm just a little out of it because my wife locked herself out of the house in the middle of this episode.
Which is pretty funny.
How'd she manage that? Shout out Michaela. But
she's very talented.
Also, you goober.
At Get Locked Out of House. Thanks everyone for listening to this episode. You can see this Boba Fett here. If you want to buy this, you can buy this. It'll be up for sale. I'll post it on Instagram or something, and then you can have it. As well as other Star Wars things. Here's some Star Wars stuff that I've drawn. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 Star Wars things that I've drawn. You can buy all of those. They're all available on my imprint shop. If they're not there, then message me somewhere and I will figure that out for you. But thanks for everyone for listening and for being our new best friends.
Yes. Thank you. Love you. Keep reading comics.
That's all I have to say. See you next time. Good luck.
Bye.